Paul began TS4 Living in 2009, bringing together a wealth of technical knowledge and hands-on building experience to the world of sustainable design. He'll touch on this in his presentation, but TS4 Living was also the winners of the 2012 Zero Carbon Challenge with their Zero Carbon Challenge house in Lochiel Park, and continues to create net zero energy ready homes here in South Australia. So here we go, Paul. The mic's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Thank you all the volunteers of ASBN as well for being here and making this happen. It's a growing event. It's fantastic to see. I've taken a slightly different tact this year, so I'll talk you through a house that's been finished about 9-10 months ago, and the client's been living there ever since. So we started off with a series of ideas, and we've stuck to those ideas as well. They were principles. Some of the principles have developed even further. And I'll mainly point to the zero carbon house as being one of the key factors for TS4. Having sort of achieved amazingly a win for that particular job and that project, we actually constructed it and we learnt a lot from it. We learnt what not to do. We developed wall sections and different methods of insulation, different methods of assembly. Some of them we've kept, some of them we've actually further developed now. So, the Myrtle Bank house. It's at Myrtle Bank. It was a client that came to us with a view, with a purpose. They had a house. The house was 10 years old, approximately. They had built for themselves, custom built by a local builder. Custom sort of floor plan, but perhaps didn't work particularly well for them. You can see on here a particular number of requirements that client had. Okay, I helped them choose the right piece of land. Actually, it was the right house that we had to sadly demolish because the banks would pay him more to demolish a lovely old house, 1930s house, than they would to keep it and obviously refurbish and add an addition, which was a shame really. But that's banking for you, and we ended up demolishing a beautiful old house. I grant you, not particularly sustainable. However, what we've put back in its place is something which meets the client's needs. Now, most of you here will be familiar with things like energy ratings of 8.1 star. And before anybody points at the air change rate, I've got a good excuse for that. If anybody understands that, some of you do very well. It's pretty low. Well, actually, it's pretty poor, actually, by our standards normally. It's a large house. The actual build envelope is pretty big, so when it was tested, it was quite a surprise that it actually got down that low. If you're familiar with air change rates, I'll let another speaker expand on that later. You'll see that the typical air change rate for a modern Australian home is around about 15.4. So we're a little bit lower. That means you haven't got air going through the house every day, every hour, continuous, 24/7. We use low VOC paints. We try to source local materials. We try to do the right thing all the time. We use passive design principles, natural ventilation. One of the things we've got down, privacy between bedrooms. The house that the client had, I've forgotten his name now, Myrtle. His house was very poor when it came to acoustics. So it's not just about the external performance of a house and the internal warmth and the coolth. It's actually also about the acoustics of a property and how it performs. Okay, now these are quotes that we've actually taken, we've lifted them from the Sanctuary magazine, which he recently did an article for us in there. Now, what he's finding is with this particular house, is that he runs the AC during the day, and he runs it for about 2 hours. Then he stops it at night when the sun sets, and then the house stays cool all the way through until the following morning. They get up, they go to work, they come back, they do the same thing again. The house has cooled itself down, it's all set up on timers, and again, nice and cool for that evening. So he never uses the AC in the evening. It's literally for a few hours during the day. We spent a long time going through, I can see, we spent a long time going through materials, both trying to get materials to come from the outside to the inside. We spend a long time with our detailing and with our builders as well. We ensure that we build to a high standard, and we normally work to an air change rate of about 3.5 now, or a little bit less. Now, our lives are really straightforward. We provided lots of storage. We all have huge amounts of stuff. I've tried to de-stuff twice in the last 18 months, and I still have more stuff. I don't know where it comes from. So one of the things we do is we design for our clients very, very closely. We actually look at how their lifestyles. So these particular clients have 4 children, hence the acoustics and hence the storage space. Okay, they're actually that pleased with the house, they're going to stay there for the next 20 to 30 years. Most of our clients, in fact, everyone apart from one, are still in their houses when we first constructed them. So the only one that's been sold is a zero-carbon house recently. Otherwise, every house we've built, it still has its original owner. We actually, or our builder actually, I'd like to think it's our design as well, won the MBA Excellence in Sustainable Construction Award recently, which was, well, that was nice to achieve as well. Again, down to detail, down to finish, down to quality of materials, for a house that is affordable. It's not a ridiculous price. And I'll finish on that slide, and I'm going to finish about a minute early, because I'm normally a minute late. And it's just a nice place to come home to. That's what I believe any good, well-designed, sustainable home should be. It should be warm in the winter, cool in the summer, and it really shouldn't cost you the earth to actually run the house. Like I say, we've tried to use materials that are locally sourced. We've tried to keep the actual carbon footprint as low as we could do, but now its operational carbon footprint is actually minimal. In fact, it's actually a carbon neutral house. So it creates more energy and exports more than it actually uses. And that's our aim with all our houses that we design for our clients. Thank you very much.